Now, the latest WikiLeaks cables reveal a premeditated effort by the Israeli military to use force against peaceful demonstrators in the West Bank. In the cables, the US ambassador to Israel noted that government officials considered any rally as grounds for the use of military force. Israeli officials said they planned to spray protesters with what they called dirty water. Well, let's speak to Clayton Swisher, who's the head of Al Jazeera's transparency unit. I mean, these are quite amazing revelations. Tell us what is being said in these particular cables.
Well, surely it helps us make sense of the uptick in violence by the Israeli military against civilian protesters in the West Bank. Here we have a cable from February 2010, a little bit over a year ago, that goes into great detail. It's a conversation between the U.S. ambassador, James Cunningham, and the head of the Israeli occupation forces in the West Bank, General Avi Mizrahi. He goes on to tell Ambassador Cunningham, quote, "The IDF will start to be more assertive in how it deals with these demonstrations, that he will start sending his trucks with dirty water to break up these protests, even if they are not violent." Now, the cable goes on to suggest that this might even be a policy shift by the Israeli government. Cunningham has another conversation with the senior Israeli Ministry of Defense policymaker, Amos Gilad, who tells Ambassador Cunningham, with respect to West Bank demonstrators, the Israeli military, quote, "We don't do Gandhi very well."
So even if the Palestinians are protesting peacefully, the Israelis are determined to respond with force?
That seems to be the lesson that Palestinians would take away from it. Let's talk about this so-called dirty water. This is what the Israeli military, in their jargon, call skunk spray. Now, the cable goes on to detail that this is some sort of cocktail between tear gas and water. Now, tear gas by itself would cause respiratory problems, difficulty breathing, eyes closed. It's not nice stuff. This dirty water, though, as people who have been experienced it, they describe it as a putrid, foul-smelling liquid that stays on them for days, even after showers. A really humiliating experience. Of course, no one truly knows what's inside it. Al Jazeera has been to some of these almost regular demonstrations and has witnessed use of aggressive tactics against civilians, including our very own Jackie Rowland. We have the footage of this just a few months before the cable was released.
But no amount of tear gas, no amount of... They're throwing straight at me! Sorry, we're under attack!
Yeah, I mean, I remember that well. Not a nice experience for Jackie. What has been the Israeli response, if any, to these WikiLeaks?
Well, the only thing we've been able to find on the use of this dirty water was this quote from a spokesman, an Israeli military spokesman, Mickey Rosenfeld, who said in August 2008 that, quote, "It's the start of a change in tactics in dealing with crowd control and dispersing violent demonstrations and violent instances." Now, clearly there's a contradiction between what Mr. Rosenfeld is telling the press versus what the U.S. ambassador is reporting to the White House. This much is clear. We tried to contact Mr. Rosenfeld, and he seems to be preoccupied.
OK, Clayton, thanks for that. Clayton Swisher, head of the transparency unit there.